everyone, welcome back to the value plays for FanDuel and DraftKings in our NBA 9-game slate tonight. It's looking like a decent slate so far. It's still bright and early, so it's hard to know with all these injuries. I know I played last night. My lineups were looking pretty good. I threw in a few very late. I hadn't been able to play as much the past few days just because of schedule-wise and everything, but I tossed in a later lineup using the optimizer last night, and it did very well up until good old KCP's injury, which kind of sunk my lineups as soon as that happened, getting stuck with 1 point. But injuries happen. Some things just you cannot predict, so that's just how the game rolls, right? So anyways, we're looking at a pretty solid slate tonight. A lot of lines aren't complete or out as of this moment. Like I said, it's really early here again. And with the injuries and starting laps and all that, we just don't know. So that's something to keep tabs on for now. But I think we got enough groundwork here to get going here on the value plays. Some guys that you can consider if you need to save or penny pinch in a few positions. So point guard, we're looking at Darren Collison, Sacramento against Cleveland tonight. Collison's coming off a tougher defensive matchup, his last game, and he faces the Cavs. Cavs are ranked 18th in DVP, so not fantastic, but not terrible either. But Collison's been playing, 30 minutes or more since he's been starting, and putting up .99 fantasy points a minute. So, you figure if he plays those 30 minutes, and then with that production, he should be able to come close or hit 30 fantasy points almost every night. Tonight we have him projected to do just that, 29.7 DraftKings points, and he's coming in at 4,300. So Collison makes a solid enough play, and with all the point guard options up top, the elite options, there's plenty of value to be had. And I kind of like Collison in GPP and even in cash if you really are looking to save. But point guard usually a position I'm not skimping on too much in cash games. TJ McConnell's the other one, Philadelphia against the Hornets. McConnell's been, very good since he's kind of came and took over that starting role over the last 5 games. He's scored 29 or more DraftKings points in that same span, and he's also just kind of storyline-wise having a good season. He hit that game winner on Wednesday that, just kind of surprised everyone, and that really red-hot, rampant comeback to take down the Knicks. That was kind of a fun game to monitor and watch and see that. So McConnell's just playing very well. He's averaging 2 steals, 9 assists, 8.3 real points a game. So he's not scoring that much, but the potential's there if he just kind of gets his mojo and is able to get to the hoop. So the Hornets are ranking 19th in DVP, and the Sixers obviously have been kind of using McConnell and obviously Embiid to keep them in games, and I don't see how that will stop tonight. So McConnell is a pretty good value play here. He's $5,300 on DraftKings, and he got him projected actually for 33.66 TK points tonight. So McConnell should be able to come close to 6x, if not exceed it. We like that as always with all our value plays. Shooting guard, Dion Waiters. We got Miami at Milwaukee tonight. Waiters is getting plenty of minutes. The problem is he's just not shooting well at all. But even so, last game he had 27.25 DraftKings points, and at his price, that's awesome. But you consider that he shot so bad from the field. He was 4 for 17, I think. Man, if those shots would have fallen, he would have been huge. But they just didn't. So there's always a risk there with him getting the minutes, putting up the shots, and just not being accurate. But if that's the case tonight, he can still produce, as we saw, with 27 points. In other ways, assists and rebounds and all of that stuff. So tonight he should be continuing to get the minutes. We got him projected to play 33 tonight. Milwaukee's actually not bad. They're ranked 12th in DVP, but I still think he's going to be able to hit 6x as the optimizer projects him to tonight. With a higher ceiling, obviously, if those shots are falling tonight, he could be in a really good spot. 4,400 on DraftKings and 29.7 DraftKings points we got projected for. I got him slotted in at shooting guard, but he does qualify at small forward. So there's a lot of value plays here tonight that qualify at multiple positions. It's going to be kind of nice to be able to like flex around or kind of pick your favorite guys that you do want to target, and you can just kind of plug them in wherever position works for you. So Waiters is a good guy there for small forward shooting guard. Either way, Cephalosha is another one. Thabo Cephalosha is going to Boston tonight. He probably is going to be covered by Jay Crowder. Maybe not. It depends how they use Crowder tonight. But they're ranked 20th against the position in DVP, and I think we like his potential to be able to hit that 5x or more tonight. He's coming off a 23-point DraftKings game on Tuesday, so he should be rested, and the minutes are there, solidified enough that we got him projected for 24 points, $4,100 on DraftKings. So that's 6x. That's what you're looking for. Another one to keep track of, as I mentioned, the KCP injury last night didn't look good. That could give a little bump to Stanley Johnson if you're a risk taker or GPP. He's only $3,000 on DraftKings. So he could be a really interesting punt play. Just something to monitor throughout the day as well. Small forward position. I got DeMar Carroll tonight. The Raptors against Brooklyn. Anyone against Brooklyn is a good matchup, and Carroll's been playing enough minutes that I think he's in play for sure tonight. He had 23 and 40 DraftKings points over his last 2 games. So he's just in a good spot here. $4,500 on DraftKings, and we got him projected for 26.7 DraftKings points. And Carroll's, a guy who may not score a ton, but he does it in other ways. He gets those steals, rebounds, assists, and blocks. He's just kind of a defensive beast, defensive factor. So DeMar Carroll's definitely in play. The other one I got here is Rodney McGruder, the Heat at Milwaukee. McGruder's another one of the kind of punt plays tonight. He hasn't been able to do much with his boost in minutes lately. Unfortunately, he's just one of those guys. He's kind of a high-risk play. He gets the volume, but he just does not produce. But tonight, I think we're hoping for just enough that he can come close to 6x, even 7x. If he plays his 31 minutes that we got him projected for, I think he can. $3,100 on DraftKings, like I said, dirt cheap. And we got him projected for 22.3. So McGruder's an appealing, very risky option at small forward. At the power forward position here, looking at Marvin Williams, Charlotte at Philadelphia. The 5x potentials here, and he's facing the 18th ranked DVP Sixers. The Hornets front court is kind of messy. They have just so many different guys with Kaminsky, Williams. Zeller was hurt. Just a lot of guys. Spencer Hawes, guys that were just kind of mixing and matching and rotating in. But of all of them, Williams has been the most consistent. He's produced 25 or more DraftKings points in 3 of his last 4 games. That other game was actually 22.8, so still very good production and pretty safe. So I think you can live with 5x from a guy power forward tonight, and Marvin Williams is that guy. He cost $4,900 on DraftKings, and we got him projected for 25.48. So that's the 5x with a little bit more upside than that. So Marvin Williams is a good power forward value play. The other guy I got is Patrick Patterson, Toronto against Brooklyn. Once again, the Brooklyn ganging up on them. I'm going to be playing a lot of Raptors tonight. It's just hard not to gang up on that terrible, terrible Nets defense. He's also really cheap. So Patterson's listed as questionable, though, so that's something you definitely got to keep track of. This is probably the riskiest value play on the board just because he's dealing with that knee injury again. He may get a minutes restriction. Looks like they saying he's probably may not play more than 20 minutes. So what you're looking for is him to actually play, monitor that throughout the day, and if he does play those 20 minutes, to hope that he comes close to that fantasy point per minute he has been able to do most of the season. And then if that's the case, he can hit that 5x for sure, 6x ceiling. So $3,500 on DraftKings, and we got him projected to hit 22.6 points. But again, you got to assume and account for that minutes restriction if he is in play. So, and to wrap it up, center position, Spencer Hawes, as I mentioned earlier, the Hornets at Philadelphia. He qualifies at center, $4,300 on DraftKings. Hawes is definitely getting some more minutes as of late, and he's been taking advantage of it. He's shooting well and kind of doing what Hawes does. It's kind of a unique twist to play alongside Williams. Compared to guys like Kaminsky and those guys, Hawes can hit the outside shot a little bit better, and he's taking advantage, and he's shooting plenty. He's 10 shots in his past 2 games. He's played 24 minutes as well over those last 4 games, so and he's produced 19.25, 24.5, 31 points, 28.75 DraftKings points in his last 4. So that's some really solid numbers for a guy who's costing $4,300 tonight on DraftKings. We have him tonight projected to do about pretty much the same, 24 minutes of play, a nice big usage rate of 21. So Spencer Hawes is a value center I will be looking at and using quite a bit tonight. 25.68 points we got projected for on DraftKings, and like I said, he's $4,300. So that's my value plays for now. Stay tuned to Daily Fantasy Cafe for more. I'm going to have the actual written post coming out a little later in the day. There may be some tweaks and changes to it as more injury news and updates come in throughout the day, of course. But for now, that's what we got. That's some good groundwork to get you going and building your lineups. And with that, I wish you the best of luck.